Hot Toys has a serious problem affecting all of us collectors I like to call the Hot Toys Wasteland. And the cause of this wasteland may not even be Hot Toys' fault. I know that all of us work well in teams, but Hot Toys just refuses to complete them. So let's start the Hot Toys Wasteland discussion with uncompleted teams. Every time Hot Toys doesn't finish a team, a collector loses their interest in the hobby. Some of you may have already experienced this, but close your eyes and imagine building out a display for your favorite team from an incredible movies like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. You love their team suits and you've invested not only funds, but space to a shelf for all of these Guardian figures that Hot Toys themselves have even teased. Some of these figures start releasing and you start building out your shelf with them, but what's that? Some characters are missing and Hot Toys seems to have moved on. Do you allow for the missing space on your shelf and just wait it out for Hot Toys to give you the rest? Do you go custom and cough up the big bucks? Or do you just scrap the line, sell off the figures you can to get the funds back, and move on to something that's not part of a team that Hot Toys will never complete? Collectors are giving up on Hot Toys teams, and it's a problem that Hot Toys is partially responsible for. Look at the Bad Batch, for example. Hunter and Echo are still available, ready to ship from Sideshow, yet Crosshair, Wrecker, and Tech have shot up in aftermarket value because collectors gave up on the line, and those later figures were produced in much smaller batches, pun sort of intended. Hunter released in 2021, and Tech released in 2024. That is an issue. So let's go through some more team examples. But real quick, if you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and hit the bell to be notified when new content goes live. Now, let's get into it. Since we started with some already, Hot Toys still has yet to complete their Guardians of the Galaxy from Volume 3 and their team suits. They did make some of them though. They made Nebula, they made Groot, they made Star-Lord, and they even made Rocket and Cosmo. Cosmo, for crying out loud. Yet they have yet to put up Drax and Nebula for PO. They made a teaser for Drax and he does look pretty great in his team suit. We have a prototype and everything, but no way to actually get him. Although, as a side note, with Hot Toys nailing seamless silicone bodies recently, I would love to see a 2.0 from the first or second movie with a full seamless upper body. But getting back on track, they also teased Mantis in her team suit, and yeah, there's no news. However, they did give us a Mantis from the Christmas special. I don't know why, but that's what they decided to do. Now for the Thunderbolts. They teased almost all of them here in this image. We can see Ghost, Red Guardian, Yelena, a new Winter Soldier, and even Taskmaster, although we all know how long she lasted in the movie. Sure, they didn't tease some characters that I was more interested in, like US Agent and Bob, but as for now at least, they only put Yelena up for PO. My worry for doing that is that Hot Toys may base interest on initial POs for just one character, and for me, Yelena is cool, but not one that I would get on her own, and a lot of collectors feel the same way. If they put up the PO for Red Guardian, because I don't even think they made one from Black Widow, I may consider getting Yelena to go alongside them, but they didn't. And now with Avengers Doomsday coming, these characters are basically all getting new looks, and heck, they even showed the new looks off in the post-credit scene. Sure, the movie may not have done as well as expected, which is a shame because I personally loved it, and if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. And sure, there may be some background issues with licensing or likenesses, but Hot Toys, you teased a whole team, and I'm still not seeing one. Now, a less impactful example is the Resistance from Deadpool and Wolverine, and yes, each figure here can definitely stand on their own because they were technically a team in the movie, but each of them are from their own property. The ones we did get though look amazing. X-23 is a beautiful figure that would look incredible next to any Wolverine in the collection, or even on her own. Then Blade. At this point, there really is only going to be one Blade because Marvel's been dropping the ball. He is another impressive looking figure from this line. For me, I prefer my Blade in a trench coat, so definitely his look from his solo movies, but they did produce a phenomenal figure here with tons of weaponry. And then for Elektra, then for Gambit, oh shoot, that's right, they're gone, reduced to atoms. Or maybe they just never existed. I love the look of Gambit in this movie, and I believe he will return for Doomsday, so we may have another chance at Hot Toys actually making him. But the issue here is that he was teased as a Deadpool and Wolverine release, and we still don't see him. And of course, the same can be said for Elektra, although I will admit, I don't know where she would fit in on any collector shelf other than a Deadpool and Wolverine shelf. But the other issue here is that I don't even know where her character is going to go as well. But Hot Toys did give us a Johnny Storm from this movie, which I don't think he's going anywhere. I mean, you saw what happened to him in the movie, but they still gave us one. And yeah, the less said about that figure, the better. Of course, there are more examples out there of Hot Toys not completing teams, and I want you to vent your frustrations with those affecting your collection in the comments. But credit where credit's due. Hot Toys has completed some teams, with the one that I mentioned previously being the Bad Batch. They completed them years after each other, and the line is still going on with new Bad Batch announcements being made, but as for the core team, it is finally finished, sort of. Does anyone else out there still feel like they should have given us an Omega? But they also finished the Fantastic Four line, or at least put them up for PO. They made Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and even the Thane. These all look phenomenal, and my wallet hates how good they all look, but they might also get a different look in Doomsday. However, Hot Toys did even go the extra mile and made a whole new product line to give us Galactus. It's not in 6 scale of course, but a huge figure nonetheless. And although he took a minute to be announced, Hot Toys did come through with that announcement of Johnny, even though the figure, he looks a little questionable. But hey, at least I didn't wait years for the rest of Fantastic Four to release to actually put him up for PO. Every once in a while, Hot Toys does like to go dumpster diving to pull some figures out of that wasteland, and recently one of these is Nightwing. Oh, Nightwing. Clearly, many collectors are no longer interested in the Arkham line or this figure in particular because Nightwing is limited to 2,000 units worldwide, and guess what? It's still up for PO on Sideshow, same with Batgirl. But at least for Batgirl, she was an exclusive color wave that not every collector was interested in, but still, she is still on there. For Nightwing, Hot Toys just straight up took him out of the dumpster and put him up for PO. No modern features were given like rolling eyeballs, the outfit looks like a nightmare made of pleather, and that hair, man, that hair looks atrocious. The worst part is that they recently announced the Arkham Origins Batman, showing that they can actually do the modern features on these figures, and for me, he's a dopo, but for Nightwing, he was just pulled right out of the dumpster. And if you scroll through Hot Toys Coming Soon section on Sideshow, you can see even more misses. Delta Squad is not yet complete. Dang, we could have had the Mandalorian and Grogu ship in 6 scale? Wow, is that Hawkeye and Zemo? Ooh, I almost forgot about the Team Suit Avengers from Endgame. Does anyone even own that Team Suit, Tony? And of course, there's some figures that aren't even on the Coming Soon section, like the rest of the Inquisitors from Kenobi or even the Black Order. So yeah, Hot Toys does have a problem when it comes to their figure Wasteland. If they want to capitalize on the hype, they should announce and put up a full team for PO all at once. But there's another problem. Is the Hot Toys hobby dying? If that's true, there are definitely multiple parties to blame. Of course, Hot Toys hasn't finished making teams for new movies that were pretty great like Guardians 3, but also there hasn't been too many critically acclaimed movies or shows from their biggest IPs recently. The Star Wars sequels as a whole sucked, but there was and still is some hype there. They did put a Poe Dameron up for PO, and honestly, I would buy an Artisan Kylo Ren and Rey, or even just newer ones with modern features. But for most collectors out there, I think they might have given up on a sequel line. And as for the shows, there have been so many misses from Star Wars shows. The Mandalorian started off great, but season 3 was horrible. Like, why in the world was Lizzo and Jack Black there? Hot Toys did make some Andor figures because that show was a spark of hope, but their other shows were forgettable and Hot Toys didn't even want to touch them, and I can't blame them for thinking that way. This year we do have some hope with Mandalorian and Grogu, and for me, my biggest hope from this movie is that we'll finally get a Zeb that I can add to the Rebels collection. Sure, a new Mandalorian and Grogu will probably be made, but for many collectors who already have a Mandalorian release, they may skip a new one unless the upgrade is truly worth it. And for me, unless he's die-cast, I'd probably pass as well. And there's also another Star Wars movie coming out, not this year, but it stars Ryan Gosling, and I'm kind of excited to see that one. So if it turns out great, you guys know that I will be looking for some figures from it. And then Marvel, man. Recently, my fiance and I have been making the journey of rewatching all of the movies and shows in the MCU before Avengers Doomsday, and sure, not every movie in the Infinity Saga was a banger, but they had an overall story that they were building on and towards. Every post-credit scene got us hyped for the next one, even though of course we know what happens. And after Endgame, the multiverse saga began, and it's kind of just whatever. They made some great shows like Moon Knight, but where's that even going? And from recent announcements, it looks like it's going nowhere. And then other shows, I still haven't even seen because I had zero interest, like Miss Marvel. But of course, I'm fixing that before Doomsday and actually watching them all. There's incredible new movies like Shang-Chi, excuse my mispronunciation please, but where has he been? And real quick, I just have to say Daredevil Born Again, it's incredible and I'm so excited for season 2, so Marvel, keep that one going for a long time because I grew up watching a Netflix show and I'm so hyped for more. But going to the Hot Toy side of things, there's not enough hype for some of these properties for them to invest time and resources into them. I spent most of this video talking about how Hot Toys gives up on making teams and how it hurts the hobby, and it does, but it's not completely their fault. When their biggest IPs fail the fans and only a select few of those fans even collect Hot Toys or even know what they are, what else does Hot Toys have to do but cut production numbers, cancel figures, and just not complete teams or lines because the excitement or just initial PO numbers are not there? We all see what's become of our favorite franchises and it just sucks. For most of us, growing up with these franchises and wanting to collect figures for the nostalgia, it's just sad to see what's happened to what we loved. I am still a relatively new collector and I love when Hot Toys makes reissues or 2.0s because it means that I can buy a piece of my childhood to put on my shelf, but the brand itself needs to grow and what's new is always going to be what's in. So they need these new projects to be good. And I mentioned Mandalorian and Grogu before, but what's new for me that I'm super excited for is Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. The fate of Hot Toys and collecting rests on these two movies. Of course, less so on Spider-Man, but for me, being a pretty big fan of Spider-Man, I need this movie to be incredible so we can get some incredible figures from it. And Hot Toys didn't give us a Punisher from Daredevil Born Again, which they definitely still should, but they at least better give us one from this movie. Then Avengers Doomsday. I'm gonna buy that Cyclops. But this movie has the weight of every Marvel fan on its shoulders. We need this movie to be good so we can once again feel that hype for Marvel movies and even some of their shows. But as collectors, we need it to be good so we can keep getting new figures for our collections and feel that hype again. And Hot Toys, they really need these movies to be good because how many more Predators can they make before collectors just turn off the lights on their displays?